Hey everyone, welcome to Area 616. The San Diego Comic-Con is officially in full force. Every comic company and movie studio has something to show off at this year's convention. Over the course of this weekend, we'll be graced with all new reveals about Venom, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Aquaman, Bumblebee, and more. Really, the only thing not attending San Diego Comic-Con this year is, frustratingly enough, Marvel Studios, who, after years of nothing but kindness for us, have decided to torture us by giving us only the tiniest, most excruciating teases for the remainder of the year. But Marvel Television did pick up the slack a little bit this year with last night's panel for Iron Fist Season 2. The whole thing was a hit with a ton of exciting information and glowing first impressions having since hit the internet. They also, as expected, debuted the first date announcement teaser last night, revealing the release date for Iron Fist Season 2 to be September 7th, 2018. So today, I'm going to go over some of the biggest reveals from Iron Fist's panel, including footage descriptions, villain reveals, and plot details. But before I get into all of that, I'd like to briefly talk about some of the other, mostly unrelated big things from yesterday that I found interesting and worth talking about. Doctor Who Season 11, we got a teaser and some frankly beautiful posters for the next season. I thought about doing a video for that today as well, but I figured we just simply don't know enough about it to warrant one. I mean, we still don't even know the premiere date for this season. I will say though, I love the teaser, and it looks to me like all of these changes are exactly the breath of fresh air Doctor Who has been needing. Also, something I might not usually talk about, but the Titans trailer. DC put out the first trailer for their upcoming series about the Titans, which is set to stream exclusively on their streaming service DC Universe. Depending on who you ask, this teaser is either great or terrible. For me personally, it's in the latter area. The music choice is just so terrible. Some of the costumes look a little too comic accurate, and almost clash with the dark tones surrounding them. Speaking of which, apparently this show is hard R with ultraviolence and F-bombs galore. I think there's a place for that in the superhero genre, but really this whole trailer just screams, look at me, I'm edgy and dark, and that makes me cool. But anyway, Iron Fist. So, last night, attendees got a ton of footage shown to them, all action scenes, and I'm happy to say that the reaction to these action scenes was incredibly positive, with people going so far as to say that they were some of Marvel Television's best action scenes to date. This has to do with Iron Fist's new stunt coordinator, Clayton Barber, who actually recently worked as fight coordinator in Black Panther. The fight scenes in that movie suffered mostly from bad camera movements and overuse of CGI. But when we do get to see the action play out as it was meant to be, it's very good. The first clip shown was actually basically the date announcement trailer, with Danny taking on some thugs in the street. In the second, Danny, wearing a green hoodie with a yellow bandana over his mouth, is shown stopping an armored car with his Iron Fist and proceeding to beat up the people inside. According to the showrunner, Danny will be living up to his promise to Daredevil, defending the city. This season will be almost entirely set in Chinatown, much like how Luke Cage is set in Harlem. The third clip shown has Danny and Colleen facing off against some enemies in a restaurant fight, followed not long after by a clip of the Daughters of the Dragon themselves getting into a fight. It was confirmed here that Misty Knight will have a recurring role in Season 2, and the Daughters of the Dragon will officially come together. It was here that they started talking about some of their plans for Season 2 and the villains Danny will go up against. The showrunner confirmed that they'll dive much more into Kunlun mythology this time, even going so far as to say that a portion of the season will take place entirely in Kunlun, which is really exciting to hear. It was then revealed that Davos, not to anyone's surprise, is essentially the main villain of Season 2, followed by a clip of him and Danny facing off in Kunlun during the ceremony to become the Iron Fist. We don't hear much about Davos's plans or anything, but this clip does have one very exciting thing in it, the Iron Fist mask. They were both reportedly wearing it, and it was described as being very comics accurate, with the only real difference being that it was made out of cloth. It was here that they began discussing Alice Eve's mystery role. You may remember that not too long ago I made a video where I predicted that she would be playing Danny Rand's long-lost sister, Miranda Rand. Was I right? No. But honestly, I've never been happier to be wrong, because it turns out that Alice Eve will be portraying Typhoid Mary herself. I've been wanting to see this character brought to life for a while now, and while I always expected it to be in Daredevil or Jessica Jones, Iron Fist actually makes sense. Typhoid Mary has quite a few ties to the Hand and has even led them at times. We got some tiny details about Mary's character. They said that she would use machetes as weapons, something attendees got to see in a following clip showing Typhoid Mary fighting the Daughters of the Dragon. And they also confirmed she would have multiple personalities here. In the comics, Mary has 3 personalities: the timid and peaceful Mary, the lustful and adventurous Typhoid Mary, and finally the psychotic, man-hating Bloody Mary. It'll be really interesting to see how this plays out, and it should lead to a character that we never know what to expect from. A good example of this are the set photos of her and Danny that surfaced months ago. They show her actually helping an injured Danny Rand. At first I thought that this was evidence of her being his sister, because it wouldn't make sense for someone he's fighting to be helping him out. But now that we know that it's Typhoid Mary, it actually makes perfect sense, and in fact I wouldn't be surprised if she was the one who injured him and then just turned around and helped him. In the past, I would have never imagined Alice Eve as Typhoid Mary, but I'm sure she'll be great. Marvel Television has a pretty good track record with only the occasional bumps, but it's especially rare that they miscast their villains. After this, the audience was shown another clip of Danny Rand fighting Davos, but this time Davos apparently ended up using the Iron Fist himself. So after hearing all of this, I'm really excited for Iron Fist Season 2. It sounds like they've done everything in their power to correct all of the mistakes made by he who should not be named, and I'm very hopeful. Iron Fist comics have always been some of my favorites, in particular the Immortal Iron Fist run and Kara Andrews' Iron Fist the Living Weapon. There's so much potential for this character on screen if they play their cards right, and it sounds like Marvel will finally pull this off. The new showrunner sounds like a great choice and said a lot of things that make me think he knows what to do with Danny Rand, which I'm happy about. One thing that was not mentioned at all was the report saying that Season 2 would be 10 episodes long instead of 13, but I imagine this is still true, or at least I hope it is. But I'd love to know what all of you guys think of this. Do you still have doubts about Iron Fist Season 2, or is your faith renewed? How excited are you to see Typhoid Mary make her MCU debut? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
Niggas on the left, rags to death. Hoods on the right, wild for the night. Punks in the back, come on in the track to what? Clan in the front, let your feet start.